All right, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about mostly my January reads, kind of where I'm at, what I've read, and what I'm working on. Um, First off, at the beginning of the month, I finished Oathbringer right here, third book in the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. Phenomenal book. I really enjoyed it. Um, I mostly enjoyed it because of Dalinar. I really love Dalinar's story and arc and everything. It's fantastic. Some great moments with other character perspectives too that I really enjoyed. Obviously, Brandon Sanderson's writing is very good. But what it suffers from that all the other Stormlight Archives books suffer from, at least to this point, I mean, but obviously I can tell by the next two, is that they're a little bit bloated. There's a little bit too much. I feel like they could be edited down a bit. They're getting a little bit too long, kind of overstay their welcome sometimes. And I wish that it was a little bit more condensed. But overall, I really enjoyed the story. I like Stormlight Archive. And I'll definitely continue the series as well, for sure. And then other stuff in the Cosmere. Another book that I finished is Shadow and Claw, the first half of the book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. Because this is Shadow and Claw, because the first one is Shadow the Torturer and then Claw Conciliator. Um, I really enjoy. First thing is, I think the biggest takeaway for me is Gene Wolfe's prose, his writing. I really, really enjoy his prose. I could just read his writing and not even really know what's going on, which honestly in this book there's a lot of moments where you don't know what things that you don't really know what's going on. But I really enjoy his writing, his prose, the atmosphere, and how things are slowly kind of like um, revealing themselves as you go through. You kind of slowly start piecing things together. That's something that I really enjoy about this book. I'll definitely continue and am continuing the second half as well, which is the Sword and Citadel, the third and fourth volumes, so to speak. But yeah, enjoyed it overall. The main character is is not a character that I really like a whole lot. That's one thing though. Is like the main character I don't like. Um, and I'm getting the vibe that you're not really supposed to like him. It's not like a likable character at all, especially particularly his actions at times. I understand the context of like him being raised as a torturer in this guild and does a bunch of heinous things. But still, it's just kind of there's not like a very redemptive quality or something I can see in him. Um, but overall, I do, like I said, the writing. Sometimes there are authors out there that, regardless, the writing and prose is so good that other things you can kind of just for not worry so much about. Like I can kind of just ignore certain parts because that bother me or I don't think that's great because the writing is just that good. So for me, that's kind of where I'm at with Gene Wolfe. The next thing that I read on my e-reader is The Tower of the Elephant. This is by Robert E. Howard. This is a Conan story. This was recommended to me on my YouTube scrolling, and I never read a Conan story before, but it was sold as like a very interesting story with a very wild, almost, I guess you could say, cosmological horror kind of ending, some wild stuff, and I really like that. And since I've never read a Conan before, I always assume Conan just being okay. This is just some really super beefy dude that just goes around and just kicking ass and this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, I mean that's cool, but I don't know. But when I read it, it's very short. You could probably read it. It's like about an hour long reading. I actually really enjoyed it, and I definitely considered like going and reading more Conan stories just for fun. I'm not sure which ones I would read next, but I'm sure there's some recommendations as far as like if I like the Tower of the Elephant, like which other ones I would like as well. So I definitely want to pick up some more Conan. I think it's pretty awesome. After that, I've read Jirel of Joiry by C.L. Moore, and man, this is the character I get behind. I think Jirel is a total badass. I loved every bit of it. The writing, C.L. Moore's writing is fantastic. So good. The stories were great. I could totally see myself going back and rereading them in the future. Jirel is like the perfect badass in my opinion. I love it. It all at times reminds me of like the meme of like somebody's just too angry to die kind of thing. It's just it fits that, and the adventures she gets into, some of the wildest, weirdest stuff out there, really out there, and some of it pretty like terrifying too. I think the last story in the series of short stories really was like very creepy, but in a very awesome way. And I really enjoy it. I think about it every now and then. But it's a shame that there's not any more stories that she stopped writing, Jirel Joiry. And man, I wish there was more. I just wanted more. And it's kind of sad that there isn't more. But hey, that's great. I can go back and just reread them and enjoy them again. Fantastic. 5 stars. The next thing is called Strange Forces. It's called 12 Stories of the Fantastic, and an Essay on Cosmogeny. This is by Leopoldo Lugones. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this is a recent translation by Will Waugh. Um, First off, the translation is amazing. The writing and the prose in it, because sometimes translations can be a little clunky. This was like, if you didn't tell me ahead of time this was translated from, I would have no idea. It was fantastic. Um, Going back and rereading, not rereading, but like learning about the history of when this was written. This was like late 1800s, early 1900s, which is crazy. I think this predates Lovecraft, which is also wild because, and I wonder if Lovecraft was like influenced by his writing because man, a lot of these stories were very Lovecraftian. I love reading Lovecraft stories, that cosmological horror, weird stuff, the unfolding of some sort of revealed mystery, forbidden knowledge that makes somebody go insane, or some sort of wild event that happens. I love that stuff. And there's 12 of them here, and they're all over the place in the best way possible. And I just thought they were great. I started reading his essays on cosmogony on the end, and I just wasn't. I mean, that just didn't vibe with me. I didn't click with any of that stuff. I wasn't interested. I just kind of skipped those. Not really interested on that kind of take of like almost like a scientific endeavor into like explaining the creation of the universe and everything like that. That's just not really my thing. It's cool, it's fun, it makes it's good background and way to story tell some things, but as far as like a serious essays about it or whatever, I wasn't super interested in it. But big props to the translator, Will Waugh. I think that's how you pronounce it. If not, I'm sorry. But wow, very, very good. Knocked it out of the park. The next thing I read is The House on the Borderland by William Hope Hodgson. This was weird, wild, out there, like crazy. Um, I, it was, I was constantly just like wanting to know what's going to happen next. It was just a wild story. I don't know how much I can explain it with just like, it's like almost me retelling the story though, if I try to explain it. But um, if you're into some, again, um, just very weird, trippy, out of body, you know, mind expanding, like hallucinatory, wacky horror at times story, like this is it. I think so. Very crazy. Uh, and an ending that was kind of a little bit of a gut punch too. Um, my only qualms with it was that I felt like it dragged a bit at times. I felt like I felt like it was a little bit too much and like too explanatory, and it was just kind of like, all right, let's get to the meat. Like, what's going on here? Like, okay, after a while, it's just like for me, it's just like, okay, but what's happening? Um, so I feel like if this was like condensed down a little bit more and like a short story that was very concise and to the point, and with the gut punch and everything like that too, and I think I would have enjoyed it more for me personally. But I mean, I nothing. That's just more of a personal preference for me. That's nothing serious. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot. It was a great read. Currently, I'm reading a couple different things. I am reading Sword and Citadel, the second half of the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. I want to continue the story and read it, obviously. And I also am reading The Machine Stops by E.M. Forster. This was recommended on another YouTube channel. I forgot where. And it sounded very intriguing to me. So I wanted to pick it up. I got it on an ebook, and I'll read that as well. As far as other stuff, I typically don't try to read a whole lot of things at the same time. I can't do audiobooks. My attention is just, I can't do it. But two books at the same time is usually as much as I try to do. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, bouncing between those two things as I see fit. But in the future, I mean, I got some other books lined up that I want to read. I generally stick with sci-fi fantasy kind of stuff, but I also kind of like taking a break from it and just do like regular like literary fiction or even some nonfiction at times if I'm in the mood for it. Um, so yeah, that's kind of what I've read for this month, and that's kind of where I'm at currently, going to the next month of February here, 2026. I'm sure a lot of different books that I would really enjoy getting into. But if you like it, any of those type of books you enjoyed and read, let me know in the comments. And any recommendations of books that are very similar to some of those that I mentioned that I really enjoyed, that'd be awesome too. I love getting a majority of the books that I've read and the majority of the books that I've come to love primarily just recommendations for people on social media, either on my Instagram or me going through YouTube, what have you. So thank you for that. I'll always love getting recommendations. So I hope you enjoy that, and I'll catch you in the next one.